What's up, all? Bjorn here. So today I wanted to go through and show off a little bit of my arena team, show you some fights, and talk through basically the state of arena and what I'm hoping to see over the next couple of patches. So to start off, I'll show you my team. I have Lord Shazar at lead for speed lead and bombs, Arbiter, Ray, and Razin. This team works, I think, almost. I'm struggling to think of what I would want to replace in arena offense. It doesn't work great on defense because Rosin tends not to use his turn meter deplete. But a couple things that make this really good. Best speed leader in the game right now at 32%. Arbiter has really, really high base speed and the 30% turn meter boost plus the attack up. Ray and Rosin both have buff strips. So if I run against them like a Skull Crown or a tower that have block damage, then you can just blow through that, as well as some big damage. And Rosin's pretty quick as well, so he can follow after my Arbiter and get the AoE turn meter deplete. Something else that's kind of worth mentioning here, it's kind of cool, is that out of my four people, I have one of each affinity, so I'm not overly burdened by attacking a specific type of team. I think what I struggle against probably the most is Force Affinity teams, since Lord Shazar tends to be my biggest damage dealer. And Ray, actually, with Arbiter, can punch through most stuff. But if you have like a really, really tanky Blue Affinity champion, like sometimes when I run up against like Tyrell and Tower, those seem a little dicier for me to one shot the other enemy team. And so let's go through. I'm gonna see if we can just blow through this list. Hopefully, pick out some good fights. The way that most of these are going to go is my Arbiter is decently quick. I tend to outspeed most people right now, and you get the Arbiter speed boost into the full turn meter deplete. Can buff yourself with Shazar just in case they live. I think everyone's dead at this point, but just for fun, we can also have Ray hit in there as well. So you can probably see some other teams that have Ray hitting a little harder. I don't have an AoE weaken or defense down to prep her hits. She just has the attack up. I like this better because other teams that I have run, where you run like a debuffer in front of her, end up putting you really reliant on the single affinity damage. Where here, if I do run into like a full force team, um, then my Lord Shazar can help out a lot in terms of bursting through them and like diversifying my damage. So having two champions that both put out a lot of damage make it so that I can be more successful against more teams. Of course, on arena offense, that's not quite as important because you can pick your battles, but it's it's pretty fun to just go through and try and see, if you can just blast through everything. Here you can see this probably doesn't make a big difference, but Ray's A2 does more damage to targets under debuffs, so the bombs do that. I'm not going to hit Aethel or Prince Kymar quite as hard here. The only thing I'm really worried about in this team is making sure Blindseer dies so she doesn't put up the block damage and the revive. But A3 will hit harder across all the champions here. It might matter in some other matches, but not here. Ooh, we got a 183k power team, but I'm guessing since they have Foley, they have no idea what they're doing. So the Lissandra is fast. I'm faster, and 180k power doesn't mean anything. Oh, someone actually kind of lived. We'll put you on auto. Cool. Keep churning through. Hopefully we find one team that gives me a little bit more of a pause. There is some like interesting dynamics that you can do with this team. Some cool stuff to show off. I might get cut here by this Lissandra, not quite. I used to run uh, Apothecary as my speed boost instead of Arbiter, and with the only 30% speed up, or the only 15% turn meter boost, I found myself getting cut a lot. Where what I mean by that is my Apothecary would go first, and then someone on their team would go second, even though I was getting the turn meter up, just because it wasn't a full 30% turn meter boost. And I think my Arbiter is like 270 speed or something like that. My Rosin is only like 210, so it is possible to have someone go in between there with the 15% turn meter boost. And look, this is a cool example of my Ray is built pretty slow. If I just had a defense down and I was relying on my Rosin to turn meter deplete, then I would have had more of a struggle here, and you can just see my Lord Shazar just one shot the martyr and the enemy Lord Shazar. So that could have been bad. This is another pretty high powered team. Interesting to see they have Valkyrie again. What I'm most worried about is fighting a team that outspeeds me or is like super tanky. And interesting, the Valkyrie passive procced, and so my Razin is going to go after my Lord Shazar. Um, the interesting gameplay that's going to happen in this one is will Skull Crown retaliate 3 times in a row? I could lose here from that. Um, let's see if I have a lot of chances to strip the Skull Crown here, and the second one gets it. I still had Rosin's A1 as another chance after that. You'll notice that I had the AoE from Rosin and the AoE from Lord Shazar and Ray's AoE each can proc. Skull Crown probably has the defensive tree talent. That person probably has like a 10% chance to win against me just by double procking their retaliates. So we got lucky on that one. We potentially could have lost that. And we're just gonna keep doing the same thing. Um, again, I just pulled Lord Shazar is probably my newest of all these champions. It's been a lot of fun playing with him. He made a big difference in my arena. Ray is pretty great, but speed is king, and being able to consistently, like you've seen, just going through this list, these are not low powered teams either. We're seeing a lot of 150, 160, 180K teams, and we're just outspeeding all of them. And I recently switched over, again, I said from Apothecary to Arbiter, and my Apothecary just had full speed gear. So I had items that were like completely trash, uh, besides the speed boosts on them. Oh, and we got the unkillable off of Skull Crown, so all hits and Asha here, even though it doesn't really matter. Um, so yeah, I have my Arbiter built a little differently in that because she tends to have a lot of utility as the fight goes on, being able to res. I have her a little bit tankier. I dropped like 15 speed. Um, that was interesting. She went right away. I didn't know she did that. I dropped like 15 speed in order to get a lot tankier. I might switch that around. We'll see. But if I end up getting outsped, that's a lot bigger deal than not. And yeah, I just burned through 9 tokens. There's a hedgemon team here, so let me see. I got some refills here. Let's fight them. This might be a lose. This might be a loss. Um, so what I'm thinking here is that hedgemon will be guaranteed to go first. He can put up the block cooldowns on all my champs. Uh, I think if he does that and Martyr gets to go, then I basically lose. Um, and I might, since I can't outspeed this person because Hedgemon. So I think I'm gonna shift up my team and put Rosin at the leader. Basically, what I'm looking to see is if I can resist this Hedgemon with the extra 90 resist across the whole team. Um, and I might also tap out Ray for Skull Crown. Hmm. So being able to dispel the Skull Crown debuff, or the Skull Crown unkillable, and the Martyr would be really great. Let's check this out. Let's try this for now. Again, I think if I get 1 or 2 resists on this Hedgemons, then I can win. And looks like we got a couple. So he actually only hit my Lord Shazar here. Um, if he was going to hit one person, I would say Verazon is probably the best that he could have hit. What am I worried about next here? I want to kill the Martyr. Let's try and see if we can get a weaken up. Yes. And then debating between A2 and A3 here. The two things that I think about are A3 is going to hit harder across the board. A2 will have a bigger chance of one-shotting the Martyr since it does more damage and the weaken is up. Uh, but also I'm worried about, I'm pretty low health across the board here, so Skull Crown could come back and kill me. So A3 will probably one-shot uh, the two on the left and has a chance to freeze Skull Crown in her immunity. So let's do this. I think I'll still kill most of them. Yeah, so this is pretty much best scenario that could have happened. Um, I should still be able to kill Martyr here before she goes again. Uh, and Skull Crown didn't get to go, which could have won. So that was a cool last one to end on. I think that team was an interesting comp some decent power there, but I think again seemed really low speed. Uh, my Arbiter got to go off without the speed leader, even though they did have a speed lead. So that means like most of their team was pretty slow outside the hedgemon. Um, but a fun fight to end on. So I'll show you really quickly, um, basically what the gear is like on the team. Again, like arena doesn't seem too difficult right now. It might get harder in the near future. So I've invested a ton of time in building this out. My Arbiter is full speed, 276. Could do a little more here. It's not anything that great. I pretty much don't even look at the sub stats for most of these. I'm just looking for high speed rolls um, and some tanky stats. My Rosin is built for Clan Boss, so he has decently high accuracy, which is important for him to land his debuffs. And he has pretty high speed. So biggest thing we're looking for here is for him to go second, get that AoE turn meter deplete. I would love to have him a bit higher accuracy, but I pilfered my better banner for my Draco for Clan Boss, so this guy's a little worse off than he was before. We got right here 167 accuracy. I should really work on that. I think as teams get better, we'll see higher resist and her being able to land that cleanse or the buff strip. I think is going to be really important. Uh, but basically just 100% crit damage, some crit right here. Uh, Definitely not my most well built nuker. Um, I have most of my crit damage gear on champions like Cold Heart, but it gets the job done. And then Lord Shazar, looking for 100% crit. I built some crit damage. It's not really that important. I think I might switch over a lot of his subs to attack. I think I was just looking for what I had, 6-star accuracy banner. I do have pretty high accuracy on him because landing the bombs are the most important. Super squishy, decent speed, and again, high attack and 100% crit rate, so his bombs proc. And other thing that's important on him is I do have the 25% chance on his bombs. So basically, as long as I crit, I get the 2 bombs across everyone. This is pretty important for him to work. And I don't even really have full masteries on him, but I do have full masteries on the other folk. Cool. I'm glad we got to go through at least one fun team in the arena. But hit me up with any ideas you have or anything that you'd like to see on the PvP aspect. Thanks, y'all.